Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of The Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to watch today's video. Guys, today I want to give some tips and advice on choosing the right boat for your specific needs in bass fishing. I don't mean getting the best boat that there is out there. I'm talking about what you need to have on a bass boat to accomplish what you need to accomplish in your own personal, way of fishing, things that you like to do. So I've got a lot of experience, so we're going to go over that in today's episode here. Also, guys, quick invitation here. I don't know if you've heard me talking about it, but at the end of the month, the sale goes off on my solarbat series RB2 and RB3 series sunglasses by solarbat. If you get a pair by the end of October, you can get them at 20% off, along with a lot of other stuff they have on their website there. So I'll put my solarbat links in the description of the video if you guys would like to pick up a pair. Got a lot of good different lens colors out there for a wide range of situations, so appreciate that. Okay, bass boats, guys, what you need to have here. I'm a big advocate in bass fishing as far as the boats to basically stay in a budget and get what you can afford and really understand the difference between needs and wants. Now, if you got an unlimited budget and money's not an issue, which is pretty rare for most people, then you are not going to get much out of this video. But if you're on a budget and you want to get the most out of your boat, I got some good tips and advice on what to look for here. So the first thing you have to do is you have to determine, what is important to you. What type of water do you fish? Do you fish small bodies of water that's like, less than 1,000 acres, or do you out on mid bodies, or you fish in the Great Lakes? Everybody has a different consideration in terms of, what they're going to need out of their boat. And also it depends on the style of fishing that you like, whether you like to fish offshore, deeper water, or if you like to fish shallower water. Now, the first thing I want to say, I want to divide this up basically into three different segments. Aluminum bass boats, sort of a mid-range fiberglass boat, and the larger fiberglass bass boats, the mid-size fiberglass and the larger size. If you're fishing areas where most of the time you're fishing shallow cover, in other words, if you fish river systems a lot, if you fish smaller lakes, if you don't like to go out off the bank and fish, and if you like to fish shoreline cover, one of my top suggestions is considering an aluminum boat. Aluminum boats are going to be a lot less expensive. They float shallower. They get you in more shallow water areas. They're more economical. They're easier to tow. There's a lot of advantages with that. But one of the reasons that I like aluminums, and that's what I'm running here, guys, this, the Vexus, aluminum that I have right here, is I like to fish shallow water. And if you like to fish exclusively shallow water targets, the big advantage of an aluminum boat is your ability to maneuver within those targets. Now, let's say, for example, you're fishing a row of boat docks and you're coming up on this dock and you get too close to it or too far away. If you're in a big, heavy fiberglass boat, it takes a lot of force from the trolling motor to speed it up or slow it down. And a lot of times you're throwing prop wash back into your cover that you're fishing. So an aluminum boat allows you to stop and start much quicker when you're tight around cover. That's a big deal because having that spontaneous ability to move the boat when you're in and around tight cover makes you a lot more efficient. And also having a boat that's a little bit shorter, you can fit in tighter spots, you can float in shallower water. If you're back fishing in the back of a cove or a creek, a lot of people, if they're in a big boat, you're going to be able to get in water twice as shallow that they are in an aluminum boat than they are a fiberglass boat. So that's a really big consideration with that. And also, if you're fishing like that, you don't have to have all these, hoo-haws, like all these different type of electronics and side imaging and down imaging. You can get by with a lot more expensive electronic unit. You can get by with a smaller motor. 150 horse is plenty fast on an aluminum boat. It'll push the boat over 50 miles an hour. So depending upon how big of waters that you fish, I would recommend some type of an aluminum boat between 17 and 19 feet, something between 90 horsepower and 150 horsepower, if that's the type of water you're fishing. If you're fishing a little bit larger lakes, and say, for example, you like to fish main lake points sometimes, and then you like to fish shallow sometimes, and maybe you have to travel 10 or 15 miles between areas, and you're on a 20,000 acre plus lake, something that's a big lake but it doesn't get super, super rough, that's when you can get by with sort of that mid-level or that mid-range fiberglass boat, something in that, 18, 19 foot, maybe 20 foot, something, 150 to 200 horsepower motor. That is going to allow you to cover that water a little bit quicker. If the water's a little bit rougher, it allows you to maneuver a little bit better in that, and allows you to also, upgrade your electronics. If you do want some type of down imaging or side imaging, you can rig it out with that. Obviously, with that situation, it becomes an increased cost, but a lot of it is just, being the most efficient in the water that you're fishing. Now, another thing with that, if you're fishing a lake like that, if you fish a typical man-made lake, and you do a little bit of everything out there, you don't really need that big 21-foot boat with 250 horsepower on it. It's going to be a lot more expensive. It's going to be a lot more heavy. It's going to be more difficult to tow. A lot of different disadvantages that come with that. So if you're fishing sort of those mid-range lakes, try to say something under 20 foot is going to be the best thing. Now, in my opinion, about the only time that you need to have a 20 or 21 foot boat with a 250 horsepower motor on it is if you're a top level tournament fisherman, or if you fish big bodies of water. If you're fishing large lakes over 50,000 acres where you have to cover a tremendous amount of water, if you're fishing Great Lakes, that is one exception that you may want to have a little bit, larger boat. But again, you're talking about a significant increase in cost. Now, I think what's happened in the bass boating industry or the bass boating market is we've had this explosion of costs with everything. Boats are over $100,000. Guys have $50,000 worth of electronics on it. There's a very small percentage of the people that need or want or can afford that. So don't get sucked in to thinking that you have to take out a 15-year loan on a $100,000 bass boat to be able to do good. As I get older as an angler, I see the advantages of downsizing and going smaller, because back 30 years ago when I was fishing, the top of the line bass boat, the thing that all the top pros fished out of, was a 17.5-foot boat with a 150 horsepower motor on it. And we did fine on it. We've gotten away from that. That's considered a tiny boat now, and it's not. So I think there's a huge advantage in downsizing boats. It simplifies your fishing. It's more cost effective. It allows you to get into tighter places. So the point of the video here, guys, is if I could leave one thing with you, don't get caught up in spending too much money on a boat. Don't get caught up into getting too big of a boat. Try to get by with the smallest boat that you can get by with, because it uses less gas. You can use a 24-volt trolling motor, not have to upgrade to 36. You can have, instead of having 5 batteries in a boat, you can have 3 batteries in a boat. It just allows you to focus more on fishing. So anyway, I hope it helps out for some of you guys that are interested in it. Also, guys, if you are interested in a boat, new or used, I'll put my Branson West Marine dealership link in the description. Guys, these guys are great to work with. They'll help you out any way that you want. If you guys are looking for a new boat, I'd be glad to go down there and take you out on a test run to Table Rock Lake. It's only like 5 miles from there. So anyway, I hope it helps out. We'll see you guys.